Okay guys, let's talk about grammar, specifically the grammar that is taught in the Michael Clay Thompson homeschooling curriculum. If you want to read, write, and understand how the English language works in the correct academic way, or how to write English in the correct academic way, a lot of people just find themselves guessing. Like, I mostly know English, so I think I put this comma here, or I think this is the correct usage of the word. I think, does it sound right? I don't know about you, but I don't want my students to have to play that really anxious, uncomfortable guessing game. I teach students the building blocks of grammar so that they feel confident when they write sentences and paragraphs and essays and creative stories and more. My name is Jessica and I'm the founder of an online tutoring business called PEZ Tutoring. My husband and I teach 6th through 12th grade English and math. If you'd like to reach out to me, I welcome it. In fact, you can contact me with the description box that's going to be below this video, or when I cue the intro, you can contact me through that stuff too. Whether you're a parent or a student, I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be thinking, what is the point of learning grammar? I mean, my grandfather learned no grammar whatsoever, and he worked hard, and he turned out just fine. All right, listen to this for a second. So this is level 2, Michael Clay Thompson, and in it, he simply just says this: grammar is just a way of thinking about language. Guys, there's only 8 parts of speech. That's it. Do we only use 8 words in the English language? No, but we know that there are 8 types of words, and that's a great place to start. If you as a child, or even as a parent, if you're learning or relearning what grammar really is, all you have to know are the 8 parts of speech. Know that there are nouns, there are adjectives, there are adverbs, there are prepositions, interjections, conjunctions. I usually remember 7 in a freeze for a second. Naming them off sometimes takes a second or 2. Think about musicians. A lot of musicians are trained. They had teachers growing up. They came from very musical families where they probably learned all the scales. They learned basically everything very technical about music. They can play correctly and they play really well. They've practiced a lot. You can put sheet music in front of them and they can play it beautifully. And then there's that other type of musician that was self-taught. Perhaps they had no formal training, but they had this one skill. They could play by ear. If you set sheet music down in front of them, they might say, I can't read music. And you'd say, but what? You're so-and-so. Comment below if you know a musician who can't read music and yet they can play. Those people often get just as much respect as the correct musicians, sometimes more. So you have to decide, are you skilled enough as a writer and as a reader to really not need to learn grammar? Can you just produce papers beautifully without really needing to know any rules? I mean, maybe, but it's not very likely. When it comes to the structure of the English language, there's just a few rules that once you learn them and you repeatedly use them, you won't have to worry about guessing or just being magically talented at writing papers. Most people can't write papers without having some type of formal instruction. When you go to school, especially in public school, a lot of these rules are taught and then they're sort of glazed over as the years go by. There's such a push for reading comprehension that people tend to forget, or perhaps teachers don't have time to go back to the building blocks of grammar. Why would they when there's just not a lot of time? In the classroom, some students know a whole lot about grammar. They know how to label every single word in a sentence, and thus they know how to use interesting adjectives better than good, nice, fine. They've got a higher vocabulary. If you study grammar, you're going to have a better vocabulary, plain and simple. When I take a look at this, and you can get Michael Clay Thompson, the online version as well. I love using the online books because I can screen share with my students and simply scroll through and share pages. You can work through this book pretty well, although I like to just use bits and pieces and then come up with my own style of lessons. But all you have to know, 8 parts of speech, parts of a sentence. That's just simply the subject and the linking verb or the action verb. Direct objects, subject complements. Sounds scary? It's really not that scary, I promise. And then there's phrases and clauses. Once you have those 4 parts down, your writing, or if you're the parent, your child's writing, is just going to be better. you won't always know why. You won't know what it is that led you to that point other than having really awesome tutoring. I'm going to close this video out just by showing you guys a little bit about what this particular workbook looks like. You just have to decide, are you the type of parent or student who can work through these books and study and learn on your own? Or do you need a tutor who has used this stuff before and who knows how to break it down? I honestly really love this curriculum when it comes to the Grammar Town. Some of the literature that's recommended with Michael Clay Thompson's information here is the classic stuff like Peter Pan and Treasure Island, The Wind in the Willows. Those are good to an extent, but one parent pointed out to me that they don't consider those culturally relevant today. So in some senses, we can learn a lot from those texts, but I would just say that in order to pick the best curriculum, you do need to pick and choose. I don't think I could teach grammar as well as I can without having seen how it was done. Just by looking at this stuff and seeing how it's broken down, I love how he's figured out the 4 levels of grammar. It just makes it easier. Some people memorize what nouns and verbs are and they don't really move further than that, but I don't think that's where you want to be as a student. And if you're a parent, I'm pretty sure you don't want your 11th grade child saying, what's an adjective do again? You want to have those mental tools in your mental tool belt so you can move on to write better emails for work or to start businesses where you sound confident and concise and you seem to know what you're talking about because you can simply communicate well. That's why we care about language. We want to be able to communicate well so that we can display our thoughts, feelings, and information out there. Contact me if you think your child needs some help with grammar because I really enjoy teaching it with this particular curriculum. I feel like it's thorough. I feel like it's helpful. Like I said earlier, I don't just use the book and just rotely go through it. It's just something that you take the ideas from it and me personally as the online tutor, I tailor it to meet the needs of each student. So if students know the level 1 parts really well, then we can move on to understanding how to identify that subject in the sentence. Like, what is the whole sentence talking about? That's usually where we would start after memorizing the 8 parts of speech and identifying them. As I said, I'm a 6th through 12th grade online reading, writing, language, grammar, all that good stuff. That's the type of tutor I am. I also offer math services, which my husband actually covers. I'm also a part of a huge online tutoring community, so I know lots of other awesome tutors as well. If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe because I will plan to make more videos in the future. Thanks for watching.